The third set will be played on Naro Station. Spawning in the top right-hand position as the green Terran for WOONGJIN Stars, his name is BrAvO.
In the opposite position, spawning as red Zerg, playing for Samsung Khan. His name is rOrO.
So a TvZ on Naro Station, not something we see too often. A lot of times we do see Protoss players get sent out on this map. And, you know, occasionally they'll play against Terran or Zerg, but I think we've only had less than a handful of TvZs when it comes to Naro Station.
Yeah, especially since people are saying PvZ is really hard for Zerg players. And they like to send out a little bit more of a Terran player, but 90% of the time we see Protoss players on this map. That's the reason why we don't see, you know, that many ZBCs, that many TBTs, or even a TBC on this particular map.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. We'll get to see, you know, how the map really plays out in this matchup. Haven't been able to see it too much. Drops look pretty good on this map, though, against Zerg players. That's something I did notice, just because of how small the map is, and there is some airspace behind these expansions, and you can easily go to from one side of the map to the other over that middle ridge.
rOrO just scouting early in the game to make sure his opponent is not going for some proxy play before he goes for the hatchery first, it seems like.
Yeah, just playing it safe. A lot of Zergs like to do this. I think there's nothing wrong with doing this at all. If you're playing on ladder, why not go for the drone scout? It's much better than losing to double proxy racks, that's for sure.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of players in Pro League, they don't go for the scout, they try to play as greedy as possible, but that's only possible because they know that their opponent is most likely not going to cheese in that particular game. On ladder matches, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know who you're playing against unless you're a top GM player and you match up with the same guy back-to-back. So that's the reason why on ladder it's better to scout your opponent completely. Or even in Pro League matches, if you're unsure on what your opponent's style is, it's better to just double-check that your opponent is not going for the cheese while going for the hatchery first.
I like this. rOrO has decided to not go for a fast gas because he did get the scout in his opponent's main base, and he didn't see any gas from the Terran player, so he doesn't need to worry about that early Reaper aggression that almost makes it, you know, really convenient to get that Zergling speed for. So, you know, he's like, all right, well, if I don't really need it too much, then I'm just going to sit back and continue the macro up.
Yeah, in fact, rOrO even got a double check on the natural to confirm that there is a natural command center going down from our Terran player BrAvO. So rOrO playing this a little bit safe, knowing that his opponent can be a little bit unpredictable, but as long as he scouts what his opponent is doing, he's going to be completely fine in this game.
So both players have seen pretty much everything important, at least early on at the early stages of the game. The initial build order openings, it's going to allow them to, you know, just pretty much play pretty comfortably in this situation.
So the question of the day, if you guys have missed it, how many players in KT roster got an all kill? And this is not only in StarCraft 2, this goes back to StarCraft 1 Brood War.
Bonus points if you can list all of the players' names.
Okay, well, you kind of have to get the names right if you kind of have to get the names right if you want to get the right number of players within the team.
Well, someone could just throw out a lucky number, lucky guess. Alright, factory on the way for our Terran player from WOONGJIN Stars. Of course, very standard follow-up, just going for the reactor Hellions potentially, or he could go for really fast Hellbats, maybe even a Widow Mine drop if he wants to, but generally the Hellions, the preferred unit of choice, at least early on in this matchup here.
Yeah, and BrAvO just going to secure himself on two bases. Going to go a little bit, like you said, a little bit harass-oriented, but that's normal in TvZ these days. You know, a lot of Terran players back in Wings of Liberty, they were trying to harass their opponent with the multiple medevac drops. At first, it was annoying against the Zerg players, but the Zerg players finally decided, you know what, we're going to make mutas, we're going to defend against medevacs, and we're going to do a very nice job at defending against all these multi-pronged attacks.
All right, we see Widow Mines here from BrAvO. Pretty cool. He's going to go for that. Also getting a fast third behind this. This Overlord will easily be able to scout that, though, if it so chooses to move a little bit in here into his opponent's space. Starport on the way as well. We do see rOrO grabbing a pretty fast third as well, so once again, it's just, you know, both players saw each other playing kind of greedy and getting early expansions and stuff, and not going for early gas. So they're like, all right, well, we're going to continue down this path, and we're going to see a little bit of aggression from BrAvO momentarily. Until then, though, I guess rOrO can just sit back and relax and continue the drone up. But he has been droning up a lot recently. So eventually he's going to just start pumping out a lot of units.
Yeah, in fact, we have up to 4 Widow Mines going out right now, so it seems like BrAvO really wants to go for the harassment early on in the game and make this Widow Mine drop work. The problem is there is an Overlord going inside the main base. Does scout the 3rd command center, but is it going to scout the Widow Mines?
Yeah, scouting the Widow Mines would actually be pretty important here. Gonna see a tech lab on one of the barracks there.
Not too sure if he saw the reactor, but he did not see the factory at all. There is an Overlord in position to scout the medevac, however, and double confirmed by the Zergling at the 3rd base.
It's going to get triple confirmed by this Overlord here as well, maybe even quad confirmed. If rOrO doesn't deal with this almost perfectly, actually maybe a little bit surprising here, because he has known about this medevac for a while now, so he should be able to get those units in place. Look at that, 3 Queens easily chasing away this Widow Mine drop. 4 Widow Mines in 1 medevac, not too common of a sight against Zerg players especially, but you know, maybe he'll be able to get it in there a little bit later, try to do some economic damage if possible at this 3rd base or in the main.
But where are the Spore Crawlers? Seems like there's Spore Crawlers are still not finished going inside the main base. There should be a Queen over there, but he doesn't have any detection against the Widow Mines.
Yeah, unfortunately for...
Ooh, well, these drones need to run away. Slightly out of position.
So far, the Widow Mines have pretty much just hit Queens, and it takes 2 hits to kill the Queens, not 1 from the Widow Mines. So, you know, I mean, it didn't really accomplish too much. At most, he's going to be able to deny a 4th base for a little bit of time here. Smart, though, sending out the Viking to try to pick off a few of these Overlords around the map. And yeah, he didn't even get a single drone kill with these Widow Mines.
How do you feel about the siege tank follow-up from our Terran player BrAvO?
Well, the map architecture makes it really easy for you to defend the 3rd base and even the natural from the high ground and the main with those siege tanks. So from a defensive standpoint, I'm perfectly cool with it. And, you know, the map, it's a small map, you can push across pretty fast, so I can certainly see siege tanks still being pretty useful there. And Terran players, they're starting to kind of go back to a siege tank style over Widow Mines. I think it may be more stylistic at this point, but we saw this with Fantasy yesterday as well, and now BrAvO is going to go ahead and do it again here today against rOrO.
Yeah, well, Fantasy's game yesterday, I have to say, it was a little bit more playing to his opponent's style, because remember, Snoot went for the Zergling, Baneling, and Roaches. Siege tanks are great against Roaches, not the Widow Mines, so that's the reason why he had a lot more siege tanks in his army composition. But like you mentioned, it's great against defense, and it seems like BrAvO, he wants to attack his opponent once again. He is not satisfied with the initial Widow Mine drop.
Yeah, the Widow Mine drop didn't really help out a lot there. I like this. He's going to go for SCV wall off here. The Zergling's going to be a little bit annoying, and oh, the tank fire could actually end up killing the Marines more than helping out here. But oh, nice job from BrAvO. Going to clear off a little bit of the creep here, but the Zergling's moving in, going to force that away. Medevac in the red, going to just boost out of there, barely escaping with its life.
So close over there. If the Queen just stepped a little bit forward and attacked 2 more times, the medevac would have gotten taken out. But for now, BrAvO, he didn't lose the medevac. He didn't lose the Marines over there, as he's just trying to fortify himself on 3 bases. Same story for rOrO. He's taking a 4th base right now, a 5th hatchery inside the main base, a macro hatchery, so that he could just pump out infinite units with 8 mutas out on the way.
Alright, looks like we're not going to be seeing siege tank composition after all from our Terran player. He is continuing to make a lot of Widow Mines now. He's even got the 2nd factory complete as well. Nice job doing a scan here. Going to pick off a lot of those creep tumors. That's really essential in this position of the map. rOrO cannot get his creep spread out of control here, or it's going to be almost impossible for the Terran player to move across the map. So this is actually really important that he is cleaning up the creep here. But the mutas have been revealed as well. The medevac's going to boost out of there.
And look at this, rOrO is so smart. Since he saw the Widow Mines previously, he just sends only a few Zerglings to make sure those are deactivated before he can just charge in with his own main Zerglings. And he also needs to be careful with his own main Zerglings, because if he does not snipe it, then all of those Zerglings are going to get taken out easily.
Upgrade situation looking like pretty even between the 2 guys. The Terran player getting his 2-2 a little bit quicker than our Zerg player, rOrO. He's getting the +1 air flyer attacks, as well as centrifugal hooks about to finish for those Banelings. And as a response, we also see that the upgrade for the Widow Mines being about to complete as well.
And look at this, BrAvO just trying to apply constant pressure, but the Zerglings trying to get us around on the Marines. Unsuccessful this time around as BrAvO fends off the attack. But this is all rOrO has to do right now. Delay his opponent push little by little, pick up the Widow Mines. and just wait until the one particular moment where he can get a nice surround on his opponent's army and clean up the medevacs using the mutas, and then clean up the ground army using the banelings.
Excellent defense there from rOrO, and now the Widow Mines are going to be activated by some of these Zerglings here. One of the queens get picked off there, but still not the biggest deal in the world. Still 6 queens right now for rOrO, and his creep spread still pretty good despite the Terran player slowly advancing in here. The creep spread could be improved in that location, but he's going to have to push back the Terran army in order for that to happen. He may go for a flank here. The Widow Mines, though, that's something to be concerned about. Most of the charges have been used on these Widow Mines now. rOrO could be free to move in here and try to do some damage. The Baneling connection's excellent in the position, and now we have a huge surround from the Zerg player rOrO. He's been able to pretty much thwart this army here. The reinforcements, though, will prevent the rest of these units from getting routed.
Yeah, but look at this. Because of the number of the mutas, BrAvO cannot go for a harassment inside the main base. You know, if he picks a few mutas here and there, he could send one medivac into the main base, wreak havoc on every single tech that rOrO has right now, and put him really far behind in the game. But because rOrO has been doing a fantastic job keeping his mutas alive, except for that one that just got wiped out from the screen, he is pretty much denying all the harassment from his opponent, and in fact, he's taking out his opponent's army once again on the ground.
Very nice maneuvering here from rOrO, and you know, BrAvO, he's really trying to be aggressive here, but rOrO is completely prepared, and no economic damage was done to him early on in the game. Oh, nice job there, though, picking off 2 of those Overseers. The third one, though, coming from behind here. We're seeing the creep trying to be respread in this position here. The tanks that are added into the army here not really being all too useful, and one of them gets picked off. A second one may get potentially picked off soon as well here. rOrO, excellent defense at that 4th base as well. I just don't see him really be... Ooh,
that was a nice Widow Mine connection on those mutas over there, and now he won the battle in the end because of the Widow Mine connection. So now there's only up to 6 mutas left from rOrO, around 7, but BrAvO can reinforce his units with the Marines trying to go for the attack at the 4th base, which is going to get thwarted because he didn't really micro this properly.
Fortunately not. And now rOrO is up to 12 mutas once again, really just constantly reinforcing with those units. He is ahead in supply over his opponent. That's a good position for the Zerg player to be in, trying to activate a few of these Widow Mines. One gets activated, and we're going to see a few more Baneling hits potentially go off there. Doesn't kill too much. The Widow Mines, are they going to go off here in this position? Nice splits from rOrO. Excellent surround. Pincer attack from the Zerg player, and that's going to put him on the offensive this time around instead of the Terran player going for the offensive.
It doesn't really matter if rOrO tries to go for a counterattack, because remember, he does have the upgrade for the Infestors, so the Fungos are going to wreak havoc on the bio units. And if you look in the production tab, we do have a Greater Spire out on the way from our Zerg player rOrO.
And you know what, with the short distances between these bases, you become a very, very good siege unit. Even attacking the bottom, the 2 bottom right-hand bases, the Broodlords can attack from the airspace and pretty much just completely deny mining in that location as well here.
Yeah, so the time is on rOrO's side. All he has to do is buy enough time to get those units out. And if you look at TvZ matches that we saw in Pro League, especially early during rounds 4 and 5, the Zerg players do a fantastic job defending against the Widow Mines and constant pressure from the Terran players. But they die immediately once they try to tech switch into Ultras or Broodlords. But rOrO's doing a nice job defending against all the attacks. He just needs to wait few more seconds for the Broodlords and the Infestor to finish.
And the Broodlords and Infestors are going to be very, very important to this army here. The Broodlord's complete now, and I'm very curious to see if he's going to try to siege the bottom right-hand base of BrAvO from his own bottom right-hand base.
Well, if he knows about it, it's just good. It's just a great move for rOrO to be in that position, because now BrAvO, he can only attack those Broodlords using the Vikings.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think he really knows about these Broodlords too much, or at least hasn't built any units to deal with them at this point. Oh, nice job, though, from BrAvO. He's going to move in here, most likely take out this expansion. The positioning from him, very good. And the Broodlords now have been revealed. They've been shown here. Will the drones in the back end up dying in this position? That's the real question.
Oh! That was a little mistake by rOrO. He didn't scout completely in that position to see if the Widow Mines have been deactivated. And a lot of Zerglings do fall. And there was also a drop at the natural, which has been thwarted, but rOrO's drones did not die. Just to answer your question, BrAvO got out of there just in time because he didn't want to waste his precious bio units just to kill a few extra drones.
Okay, well, Fungal's going on the Terran army as well here. This is going to be a big engagement here. Could potentially decide the fate of this game here. rOrO and BrAvO's main lines have been thwarted here, but the additional ones and the back starting to be microed back from the Terran side. Additional Zergling reinforcements trying to move in here. The Widow Mines not being too effective here. More Fungals going down on the main Terran army as well. There's Queens. There are Broodlords in this army composition, but there's too many Marines, too many Marauders. They haven't been DPS down fast enough, and rOrO losing this engagement here is going to go ahead and put him pretty far behind.
And because this is StarCraft 2, sometimes you cannot see the action from happening, but during the main engagement, the Zerglings the Widow Mines all connected to the Zerglings. rOrO did not deactivate them before actually engaging into the main army. 2 Broodlords have been taken now. Yes, rOrO has enough units to maybe defend back at home, but the 3rd one goes down, and the 4th one even gets taken out.
So unfortunately, the Broodlords cannot be used to siege that additional expansion of BrAvO, and he's secured a 4th base. He's going to get a 5th base soon. A Terran on 5 bases is insane. That's where the Zerg player should be right now, and that's where he is somewhat. Nice job, you know, killing off some of the bio here, but overall, you know, BrAvo's still being decently cost efficient.
Yeah, BrAvo's being really cost efficient right now. This time around, not so much, because all of the Widow Mines have been picked off using the Banelings. But as long as he has a good number of medevacs and the Vikings, well, this is not great. He needs to save those air units over there to make sure he can apply constant pressure against his Zerg opponent.
Yeah, well, at least rOrO is still denying that 5th base a little bit here. Trying to defend in this location. The Infestors, though, are going to get picked off pretty fast here, potentially, by the rest of these Marines. More reinforcements are tunneling in here from the Terran player. He's moving forward with those Marines there. Can he pick off a few more of those Infestors? No, doesn't look like it, at least in this position. More Marines still coming in here.
Yeah, well, there's enough Zerglings and Infestors to just barely defend against the attack, and the reinforcement is gonna put BrAvO in that little position over there. But with the reinforcement units arriving also from BrAvO, and rOrO not microing those Infestors carefully, seems like BrAvO can actually win the engagement and slowly push back his opponent.
Yeah. And rOrO just nail-bitingly defends here with these Zerglings, but BrAvO, he's saying, no, man, I actually want to keep attacking here. I'm just going to attack with every single wave of units that I have. He's even added on 2 additional starports. Doesn't really need them too much right now because there's no more Broodlords in position. Lots of Banelings being morphed in now, but just, you know, there's no more energy on these Infestors. We're down to just a few Lings and Banelings here. BrAvO is overpowering rOrO in this position, and the drones moving to the 3rd base could get taken out as well. The Baneling's going to connect here, not being too cost-efficient, though, and that's the problem overall here with rOrO's position. He's not being cost-efficient at all. GG is called. rOrO realizing he cannot take the continued onslaught from BrAvo's army.
Yeah, BrAvO wasn't... You know, rOrO got to a nice, comfortable position getting the Broodlord out, even before the 5th hatchery got taken out. But the problem is, once he decided to engage his opponent's army, the Fungals did not connect that well with the Zerglings and Banelings dying to the Widow Mines before rOrO could have deactivated it. And because of that, rOrO did not have the ground army to take out the bio units. That's the reason why the Broodlords got taken out so easily, and BrAvO was able to push forward to win the game.
And also, you know, rOrO, he only had 4 Broodlords. He didn't really overcommit to them, but I feel like maybe that was almost an undercommitment. He lacked a lot of DPS in that army to really deal with BrAvo's forces there. Maybe a few extra Broodlords could have turned the tide, or a little bit better micro against the Widow Mines as well, the Zerglings and Banelings, but well, that's the way it works. BrAvO was able to defeat rOrO in the 3rd set. Now the score 2-1. WOONGJIN stars ahead of their opponents. The next match will be Mechia versus Cop, a ZVT on Belshire Vestige.